Ever feel like you're trying to jam puzzle pieces together that just don't fit? Kind of like how the term Agile methodologies feels. It's almost like, mixing oil and water. We're going to deep dive into a video presentation today that really digs into this. Explains why that phrase, especially with AI getting so big, is a recipe for, well, problems.
Yeah, I see that. It's interesting, right? Like Agile, it's all about flexibility. Then you tack on methodologies, which are all about like rigid frameworks. It's kind of paradoxical, isn't it?
Absolutely. And the video pointed out something that I thought was really interesting. You know how the Agile Manifesto authors, they had already created a lot of the Agile practices, like way before the manifesto even came out.
Oh, you're right. Like Scrum and extreme programming, even Kanban, those weren't born from the manifesto. They were already around.
Exactly. So they didn't invent them. They just reframed them, right?
Yeah, they kind of unearthed like a deeper truth about what makes teams effective, shifted the focus to individuals, interactions, adaptability. They essentially like unified these existing practices under this new philosophy.
It's like they discovered what made these practices work and then gave it a name, Agile. But as the video highlights, it's always tough to explain something that's brand new.
For sure. It's like imagine you're trying to explain the internet, but to someone who's living back in the 1800s.
Whoa, yeah. Like, where would you even begin? You wouldn't have the same vocabulary.
Exactly. The video uses this great analogy. Imagine trying to describe a smartphone.
To someone who's only ever used a rotary phone?
Yeah, you might just say it's a better phone, but that wouldn't even scratch the surface.
Right. It's a completely different experience. Like, the potential is almost limitless. And, this is exactly how so many organizations get Agile wrong. They treat it as just like a simple upgrade. From Waterfall, like swapping an old tool for a newer version.
And that's where the danger is. If you're just like replicating your old waterfall processes, but with new agile tools, you're missing the whole point.
You're missing that transformative potential.
Absolutely. The video really emphasizes that agile is about embracing change and uncertainty, not trying to like control and eliminate them. It's a whole mindset shift, not just a process upgrade.
So it's not about finishing projects faster.
No, it's about changing how we work entirely.
Instead of like rigidly defined projects and deliverables.
Yeah, it's more about fostering a culture of continuous improvement, adaptation, embracing that things change. Like work itself is constantly changing.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. So if we're not supposed to think of them as agile methodologies, what's a better way to put it?
The video suggests some alternatives, like agile practices, or even better, adaptive capability.
Adaptive capabilities?
Yeah, it moves away from that rigidity of methodologies, right? Emphasizes that agile is dynamic, it's evolving.
I like that. It really gets at what we're talking about. And this leads to another really important point. The tools, the processes, they're only as good as the people using them, right?
Right. It's about cultivating an agile culture throughout the organization, one that values collaboration, experimentation, continuous learning.
So it's not enough to just implement Scrum or Kanban. You need to actually believe in those agile values to make it work.
Exactly. Imagine someone who has a smartphone but only uses it to make calls. They're missing out on so much. And they might even get frustrated by all the features they don't understand.
It's the same with organizations that implement agile practices, but without fostering that agile culture.
They end up disillusioned, wondering why these agile methodologies aren't like a magic solution.
Like they bought a Ferrari but only ever drive it in first gear.
Haha, yeah, perfect analogy. They've got all this power and potential, but they're just not tapping into it because they haven't embraced the agile mindset.
So then how do we actually cultivate that mindset? What are the key principles that organizations need to embrace to really, truly unlock the potential of Agile?
That's a great question. And it's something the video really digs into. It's not just about adopting a few new tools and processes. It's a much deeper shift in thinking.
So it's more about a cultural transformation than just changing project management style.
Exactly. It's about embracing values like transparency, collaboration, and continuous learning. Empowering teams to make decisions, experiment, adapt quickly when things change. It's a whole new way of working.
This is really fascinating. I'm already seeing how this shift in mindset could be so beneficial, and not just for software development, but for any organization.
Absolutely. Agile principles, they can apply to any field, really, from marketing and sales to human resources, even education.
It's about fostering that culture of adaptability and innovation, which, let's be honest, is essential for success these days. The world's changing so fast. Yeah, this is definitely making me rethink my own approach to work. And speaking of the future, the video also explores how Agile is connected to AI, which is getting so big.
This is where it gets really interesting. Implementing AI without that solid Agile foundation is like, Attaching a jet engine to a matchbox car.
Well, wow. You don't get a faster car, you get an explosion.
Exactly. AI, it amplifies the need for adaptability, rapid learning, and being comfortable with uncertainty, all things that Agile helps cultivate. And organizations that try to implement AI within, like, their old waterfall structures, they're setting themselves up for failure.
So if an organization wants to successfully integrate AI, they need to embrace Agile first.
Like a prerequisite, yeah.
Agile isn't just a nice-to-have anymore. It's becoming essential for any organization that wants to stay competitive, relevant, especially in the age of AI. Wow, this is a lot to unpack. Understanding Agile and its principles seems more important now than ever. It's not just about software development. It's about how we adapt as the world changes around us.
You hit the nail on the head. The video does such a good job at breaking these complex ideas down, highlighting the importance of Agile for today. It's a must-watch for anyone who wants to understand the future of work and how to thrive in the age of AI.
We're definitely not doing it justice here. You'll have to check out the video yourself to get the full picture. We'll be sure to include a link in the description below.
Yeah, and don't forget to check out the other insightful videos we've linked in the description. You might find some hidden gems that'll further enhance your understanding of Agile and its, implications. So let's unpack this whole adaptive capabilities thing that the video keeps highlighting. It's really, really important to understanding what it truly means to be Agile.
Yeah, it's definitely a way better way to describe it than Agile methodologies, which, like we said, is kind of contradictory.
For sure. It shifts the focus from those rigid processes to building a culture that's flexible, responsive, and always learning.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do we actually cultivate those adaptive capabilities? Like, how do organizations actually make that shift happen?
Well, the video really emphasizes how important leadership is. Like, it's not enough to just implement these new Agile tools and processes from the top down.
Leaders actually have to embody the Agile mindset themselves.
Exactly. They need to create an environment where teams feel safe to, experiment, learn, and adapt.
So leading by example, right? Walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
Absolutely. The video talks about creating a culture of psychological safety.
Oh, psychological safety.
Yeah, so teams need to feel comfortable taking risks, knowing that if they fail, it's a chance to learn, not get blamed.
That makes sense. Can you unpack that a bit more? What does that actually look like in practice?
It's about creating a space where everyone feels safe to speak up, share their ideas, even challenge how things are done, without being afraid of, negative consequences.
So building trust and respect where everyone feels valued and heard.
Exactly. It's about empowering people to try new things knowing they have the support of, their team and their leaders. And it's also about promoting continuous learning and development. Agile teams are always evolving and adapting, so it's super important to give people opportunities to learn new skills and stay ahead of the game.
So it's not just about initial training on Agile practices. It's more like ongoing learning and development to keep up with the changing world.
That's it. The video talks about creating a feedback loop so teams are always reflecting on what's working, what's not, and how they can improve.
It's about building continuous improvement into the organization so that experimentation and learning are just part of how they operate.
And that requires a shift away from the traditional, command and control style of leadership, moving towards something more collaborative and empowering.
It sounds pretty different for organizations that are used to hierarchical structures and top-down decision-making.
It is, but like the video points out, this shift is essential if you want to succeed in this age of AI and all these rapid technological advancements.
Because as AI becomes more common, organizations need to adapt faster to these new technologies, changing market conditions, evolving customer needs.
It's about becoming a learning organization, one that's constantly evolving and adapting to stay ahead of the curve.
And that's where the real power of Agile lies.
Yeah, it's not just about delivering faster or more efficiently. It's about building organizations that are resilient, adaptable, and can thrive even when things are uncertain.
So just to be clear, this isn't just about software development.
Nope, not at all. These Agile principles, they're universal. It's all about people, collaboration, adaptability, continuous learning. Those qualities are essential for success in any field.
Especially in a world that's changing faster than ever before.
Exactly. It's about building organizations that are fit for the future, ones that embrace change and use it as a catalyst for growth.
It's about moving beyond Agile methodologies to a real Agile mindset that goes through the whole organization.
And that's the main takeaway from the video. It's not about doing Agile, it's about being Agile. It's about building those adaptive capabilities that let organizations thrive even when things are complex, uncertain, and changing quickly.
It's about accepting that the future belongs to those who are willing to embrace that change, experiment, and keep learning.
That really resonates with me. It's a call to action for everyone to rethink how we work, to embrace Agile principles and build organizations that are ready for the future.
I couldn't agree more. This video has really opened my eyes, challenging us to move past the buzzwords and actually grasp the power of Agile. It's made me see that it's not just about keeping up with the latest trends. It's about building a more resilient and adaptable organization, one that can face any challenge.
Exactly. It's about creating a culture where people are constantly learning and improving, where they feel like they can experiment, take risks, and really drive innovation.
This video has given us a lot to think about. I especially love how it connected Agile to AI, which is becoming such a big deal.
That was really insightful. Remember that analogy with the Matchbox car and the jet engine? Really drove home the point that trying to do AI without Agile is, well, asking for trouble.
It really did. It just emphasizes that Agile is so much more than a bunch of methodologies or practices. It's a fundamental mindset. It's essential for navigating the future of work.
Absolutely. This video makes it crystal clear Agile isn't a fad. It's a fundamental change in how we approach work and build organizations for the future.
Speaking of the video, we can't recommend it enough. It's full of insightful visuals and thought-provoking ideas that will definitely give you something to think about.
We'll definitely include a link in the description along with some other resources that you might find useful.
And as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and tell us what stood out to you, what challenges you're facing with Agile, or any other insights you have.
Let's keep this conversation going. Agile is a topic that's worth all our attention.
Well said.